All right, greetings from down under. It's so good to connect with you in this way. I was just thinking about how much our world is upside down. There's so much fear, anxiety, worry, and really what this world needs more than anything else, more than even a cure for this virus, what this world needs is Jesus Christ. And it needs to see Jesus Christ. I was thinking about what the Lord Jesus Christ would teach his disciples in that upper room discourse in John 13 to 17. I think it's very applicable for you and I today. And so we're just going to look at 5 things that are found in there. We're not going to be able to go into great depth. And so I'm just going to give them to you rather quickly in this video. The first one is in John 13, verse 15. And there you're going to see that he says, "For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you." And so, of course, this situation, the context is the Lord Jesus Christ washing the disciples' feet, getting up from table, putting a towel around himself, getting down, washing the grime and the dirt off their feet from the day, and then getting back up and then explaining to them what he has done. I think if you look deeper than what you find there on the surface, you'll actually see it's a picture of what the Lord Jesus Christ did, coming to this earth, going to the cross, and then going back to be with the Father again. But the example is this. He says, you know what I'm asking you to do is just to do what I've done for you, right? Serve, take the lower spot. In humility, serve one another. And he says, do as I have done to you. And so if we want to put Jesus Christ on display in this world, we need to do what he has done and to live like he lived in that. The second one actually comes up 3 times at least in the upper room discourse. And it's the idea of loving as I have loved you. You'll see that in John 13 and 34. For one of them it says, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another. As I have loved you, that you also love one another." And if you think about that, it's not a new commandment in the sense that loving one another, that was given right back in the very beginning in the law, right back in Deuteronomy, the idea of loving one another. But now the bar has been raised. It says, "A new commandment I give you. And it's to love as I have loved you." And we don't have the time, of course, in a 5-minute video to talk about all the ways that Jesus Christ has loved you, has loved me. But when we think about that and stop and think about that, that's what he wants us to show in our lives, is that same love. The same love we've received, we're to give. That's whether to a fallen world around us or to our fellow brothers and sisters, even ones that we may not agree with or get along with, but to show that same love that he has shown us. So do as I have done, loved as I have loved. And now we look at a third one, is in John chapter 15, verse 10. And there it says, "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." And so now it's keep as I have kept. You know, we live in a world where even as believers, we don't want to obey. We don't want to submit. We want to do our own thing. When we look at the life of the Lord Jesus Christ, what consumed him the most was his obedience to the Father's will. Whatever God the Father had laid out for him, whatever he wanted him to do, the Son was completely willing to do that. No trying to get out of it, no trying to find some loophole that we can kind of write it off, that we don't need to do it. The Son was in complete obedience to the Father. And right, if we want to show Jesus Christ on display to this world, we need to be the same. We need to walk in obedience to God and his word and to his will and to see what he has for us and to be willing to do that and to live it out completely. So do as I have done, love as I have loved, and keep as I have kept. Right? All this on display by the Lord Jesus Christ himself. The next one is actually in John chapter 17 and verse 14. And there he says, "I have given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world." And so it's not as I have, it's as I am here, but you get the idea. And so you have be as I have been. Right? When Jesus Christ came to this world, his goal, his purpose, his mission was not to come and conform to this world and to be like everybody else and to fit in and to do what everybody else was doing. He came to display himself, to display the very nature and character of God. And that was completely in direct opposition to the world and how this world runs and operates. And that's okay. because that's what the world needed. It needed to see God on display. And it's so hard for us. We want to conform to the world around us. We want to look the same, we dress the same, our houses look the same, often our goals and ambitions look the same. But really, that's not the way it should be. The world should actually be in opposition to us. It should actually hate us because of how we live and how we are, just like it did the Lord Jesus Christ. And so, just as he was, so we are to be as well. So, be as I have been. And one more just to challenge you with and encourage you with is in John chapter 17 verse 18. And there we see, as you have sent me into the world, so have I. Let me just read it. As you have sent me into the world, I have also sent them into the world. And so we think of the Lord Jesus Christ being sent by the Father to this fallen world, to the people who would hate him, but to the people who desperately needed him. And he doesn't go to the great high places and among the rich and so on. He goes to the down and outers. He goes to those who are broken, who are hopeless and helpless, and the ones with the problems. And so, that's a challenge for us, to go as I have gone. Jesus Christ came to this world. And then when you think about that, at this time especially, it's a little bit harder with restrictions and so on. But how can I go to the same people that Jesus Christ went to? This world is completely upside down and people desperately need him. And so how can I go to those people? How can I show Christ to those people? And so really quickly, I want to leave you with those 5 thoughts as we think about this time and this day that we're living in. But whether it's today or whether it's when everything was going well, the reality is what this world needs is Jesus Christ on display. And Jesus Christ, as he would tell his disciples, do what I've done. Love as I have loved. Keep as I have kept. Be as I have been. And go where I have gone. I hope it'll challenge you and encourage you. 1, to think about him. Think about Jesus Christ and what we know from experience as we've walked with him, as he's taught us and as he's shown us. That now we would mimic that. We would be imitators of him to this lost and this fallen world around us. That's what it needs. More than anything else right now is it needs to see Jesus Christ on display.